Discover the amazing One Mindset, heartwarming lessons to transform your life forever. In the heart of Maplewood, Lucy's daily routine felt like a well-rehearsed dance. She rose each morning with the sun, her little kitchen filling with the mouth-watering aroma of pancakes. With Max and Ella at her side, she flipped flapjacks with a smile, her heart swelling with dreams of brighter days for her children. Those dreams burned brightly, a lighthouse guiding her through the long hours at Pete's Diner and the grocery store, where she restocked shelves lined with products just out of reach for many families in town. But the cheerful facade of Maplewood began to splinter when the old industrial plant down on the riverbank closed its doors, leaving families clutching their paychecks tightly, financing a parade of worries. The whispers started over backyard barbecues, and at the groceries checkout line unspoken fears that coiled through the hearts of the townsfolk, unsettling the air like a summer storm brewing over the horizon point. One evening, as the kids slept on either side of her, Lucy stumbled upon her grandfather's weathered journal wedged between old textbooks and clutter. His words danced off the pages, each stroke of ink a story of resilience and strength during the Great Depression. The One Mindset, how a sliver of hope could inspire a community to rise together in times of strife. Excitement crackled within her, she felt a spark ignite. She recognized an urgency to act, fueled by determination. Lucy launched a grassroots organization for struggling families. It felt like aiming for the stars when the ground was trembling beneath her feet. That night at the community center, surrounded by folding chairs and flickering fluorescents, she unveiled her grand idea. Eyes widened, eyebrows narrowed. She faced the crowd, holding her breath as unasked questions hung palpably in the air. Could they really band together? Or would misunderstandings prevail? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she spoke, a thick mass of uncertainty pressed down. Some neighbors exchanged skeptical glances, their smiles turned tight. Among her supporters, whispers of recognition surfaced, but for every soft voice, a stronger one pushed back, resentment bubbling just underneath the surface. Yet, just as doubt threatened to smother her hopes, a local business stepped forward, donating supplies for her first event. It was the flicker of light on the horizon, a glimpse of what could be if the community came together, but darkness loomed still, and tension twisted in the air. At the upcoming town hall meeting, Lucy stepped to the podium amid a sea of anxious faces. Heart racing, she locked eyes with the growing crowd, their apprehension palpable. With every word, she fought against the tide of hostility wrapped in economic envy. This is our moment. Lucy's sincerity unveiled the warmth of hope. If we unite, we build a stronger Maplewood. We can share not just our struggles, but also our triumphs. As applause erupted from some, criticism lingered like fog over the tension-filled room. Lucy's heart raced. She stood at a precipice, questioning if her dreams for transformation could truly take root in a divided community. Would Maplewood rise to the occasion, or was she destined to walk this lonely road alone? Lucy's heart thundered in her chest as she scanned the room for a glimmer of understanding among the faces. Each clap of approval from the cheering section wrapped around her like a warm embrace, yet the sneers from others chilled her to the bone, slicing through her optimism. The room felt expansive yet claustrophobic as she stood, searching for the words that would bridge the evident divide. Together, we can support each other, she pressed, desperation creeping into her tone. I know times are tough, but if we work together, we can create a little light in the darkness. Everyone deserves a fair chance. The murmurs of discontent swelled, some shaking their heads, others crossing their arms defiantly. What do you know about tough times? Came a voice from the back, slicing through her optimism like a knife. You don't know what it's like living day to day. The words hit her like a cold wave, stinging with truth. It was a reality she skirted around, one she recognized but couldn't fully grasp. Her life was filled with challenges, yes, but they seemed ephemeral compared to those burdened by unemployment. She took a breath, her voice steadying. "I may not know your struggles entirely, but I feel them in my heart," she said, her words fueled by sincerity. "My children matter to me and so do yours. If we come together, we can create something extraordinary. Let us start a community pantry or skill-sharing workshops. We can lift each other up." A woman in the front row, with tear-streaked cheeks and weary eyes, leaned forward. "Lucy, it's not that simple. What if it fails?" "It could," Lucy replied, a spark igniting beneath her skin. "But then, we pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and try again. That's the one mindset." The applause began softly, a few sympathetic souls joining in, but Lucy felt the weight of tension still hanging heavily in the air. Her success or failure hung in the balance. As the meeting dwindled, Lucy faced her family as they walked home under the vast starry sky. "Mom, are you scared?" Max asked, his small hand clutching hers tightly. "I am, buddy," she admitted, dropping to one knee to meet his eyes. "But I believe in hope and love. And that's worth fighting for." Ella chimed in, her youthful exuberance lighting up the darkness around them. "We can help. Right, Max?" Lucy smiled, warmth cascading over her as she felt their belief wash over her, filling the cracks formed by uncertainty. Together, they walked home, hand in hand, spreading a flicker of courage as small community sparkles twinkling around them, but as they entered their modest home, Lucy's phone pinged with a message from an old acquaintance. Intrigued, she opened it, her pulse quickening. The familiar name glowed on the screen, and her stomach dropped. It was someone she had hoped to never hear from again, a reminder of her past and her unresolved dreams. The weight of that message loomed heavy over her shoulders, pulling at her resolve. What did they want? And how would it impact her mission for Maplewood? As doubt began to creep back in, she knew she had a choice to make. With a deep breath, Lucy hesitated, staring at the screen. The road ahead felt less certain than ever. Would she turn back, or push through this new challenge? Lucy sat on the edge of her bed, the glow of the phone screen illuminating her anxious face. She could almost hear the distant buzzing of the world outside, where people were moving through their own challenges, conflicts, and dreams. But here, in this moment, her heart wrestled with the weight of anticipation and fear. The message from Jordan read simply, "Hey, Lucy. It's been a while. I wanted to catch up. Can we meet?" She remembered the times they had shared dreams of starting a business, late-night brainstorming sessions filled with laughter and hopes for the future. But it all crumbled when life took a turn she hadn't expected. Their paths diverged, and suddenly, he was no longer a part of her life. Seeing his name now sent a shiver down her spine. Her fingers hovered over the screen, torn between curiosity and dread. Could this be an opportunity or simply a painful reminder of what she had lost? What if he wants to talk about the old days? She whispered to herself. What if he brings all the dreams I buried back to the surface and they hurt all over again? Taking a deep breath, she set the phone down, stood up, and walked over to the window. The moon hung low, glowing softly, casting silvery light on the quiet streets. It was a comforting sight, one that reminded her of the possibilities lurking in the shadows of uncertainty. She turned back to look at her children, who were tucked into bed, sleeping soundly. They were the reasons she had chosen to fight, to step out of her comfort zone, to try to bring a little brightness to their world. Suddenly, Ella's small voice broke the silence. "Mom, are you okay?" She sat up, cheeks slightly dimpled in the moonlight. Lucy's heart swelled with love. "I am, sweetheart. Just thinking. About the pantry?" Ella asked, her innocence shining through. "Something like that," Lucy replied softly. Ella patted the bed beside her. "Can we do it together, like a team?" Lucy felt the warmth of hope wrap around her. "Of course. Your energy is exactly what we need." As she lay down beside her daughter, the gravity of the situation swirled in her mind. If she reached out to Jordan, their conversation could ignite her ambition again and maybe find a new ally to help her in Maplewood. Or, it could unravel every carefully woven plan she had built over the last few years. Max poked his head from under the covers. "Mom, are you coming to bed? I want to dream about pantries and helping people." Lucy chuckled, the heaviness in her chest lifting slightly. "I'll be right there, buddy." Before climbing under the covers, she glanced one last time at her phone. The message flashed back at her, the screen a taunt of uncertainty wrapped in potential. Should she reply? Was she ready to reopen that chapter? As sleep beckoned with its gentle lullaby, the conflict swirled around her mind, refusing to settle. Deep down, she knew life had a way of testing even the strongest resolve. As she hid the phone under a pillow, a thought flickered, soon followed by a rush of determination. Whatever tomorrow brings, I will face it head-on. The next day could change everything. But before she could drift into dreams, Lucy whispered a silent prayer for courage, knowing that the urgency of her decision loomed ahead. Would she dare to reincorporate the past into her present? Tomorrow, she would decide. The question echoed in her heart, a reminder that every step forward counted, whether they led her toward light or shadow. Morning sunlight streamed through the window, painting the room in soft, golden hues. Lucy stretched and yawned, the weight of sleep slipping away. Yet, the moment she opened her eyes, the memory of Jordan's message crashed back in like a wave. Her heart raced, uncertainty swirling within her like a storm. After she took a quick glance at her sleeping children, she tiptoed out of the bedroom, hoping the quiet of the house would give her a moment to think. She sank into the kitchen chair, letting the warmth of the coffee cup cradle her hands. As steam danced upwards, she felt the fleeting sensation of clarity. "Okay, Lucy. You can do this," she muttered to herself. She was running through the possibilities, weighing the pros and cons like items on a scale. But what if this meeting could spark something new? She thought about the pantry project, the dreams she had buried deep. Perhaps he was reaching out for a reason. Just then, Ella's small footsteps padded into the room, her hair tousled like a messy halo. "Mom! Did you sleep okay?" Her bright eyes twinkled with morning cheer. Lucy smiled back, the tiny shadow of doubt lifting momentarily. "I did, thanks to my best sleepyhead. Can we make pancakes?" Ella jumped in her seat with excitement, adding a bounce to her voice. "Sure. Let us make a feast," Lucy replied, warmth spreading through her heart. But as she moved, the heaviness of uncertainty lingered. With each flip of a pancake, the question loomed: would she respond to Jordan? With Max soon joining them, the kitchen buzzed with laughter and the smell of warm batter. Standstill worries kept poking at her like an annoying fly, but the cheerful chaos of family life drowned them out. They created messy masterpieces together, topped with syrup and sprinkles. As they sat at the table, Max exclaimed, "This is the best breakfast ever." "You're the best, Mom." His praise sent a rush of affection through Lucy. She could do this, couldn't she? She was already remarkable in their eyes. Maybe she could be that way for herself as well, but as they devoured their pancakes, her mind strayed back. The thought spiraled. What if she failed? What if the dreams he reignited became another burden? It was a risk either way, a risk to dive back in or to lose a potential ally. Later, after cleaning up and watching her kids play outside, she snuck back to her phone. It nothing more than a lifeline to the past that felt both tempting and terrifying. The two worlds of her life collided, the mother she was now and the dreamer she used to be. Taking a deep breath, she unlocked the phone and stared at the screen. Her fingers tingled with hesitation. Should she reply? Just then, a notification popped up, an email from the community center about a grant application for new projects. The words ignited a spark in her heart. The opportunity to fund the pantry was almost within reach. She put down her phone and spoke aloud, "Maybe I can do both. Maybe I don't have to choose just one path." Determination filled her. But just then, Her phone buzzed again. It was Jordan, asking if she'd made a decision yet. Lucy's heart raced, and she found herself at a crossroads, balancing the past with the promise of the future. She typed a response, the weight of both excitement and apprehension pressing down on her. Let us meet. As she sent the message, her heart thudded in anticipation, wondering whether this connection could lead to a new direction or simply rehash old wounds. Whatever the outcome, a new journey was beginning, and she had taken the first step. Would she discover the courage to embrace what comes next? Lucy spent the next few days feeling like she was caught in a whirlwind. The morning sunlight still painted her kitchen in golden hues, but now the air felt charged with possibility. Each time she passed her phone, her heart skipped. Would Jordan reply? What would he say? She tried to focus on her kids, joining in their games and laughter, but on the periphery, thoughts of the upcoming meeting crept in. It felt surreal. For years, the idea of pursuing her dreams had seemed like a distant star, always shining but never reachable. And now, the universe had plopped a golden opportunity right in her lap. Mom, watch this. Max shouted as he somersaulted across the patchy grass of their backyard. Ella squealed with delight, clapping her little hands together. Lucy couldn't help but smile. Their laughter echoed against the fences, time frozen in moments of joy. Yet, in the back of her mind, worries flickered like unwelcome fireflies. What if Jordan's excitement rekindled in her nothing but old emotions, and she ended up regretting it? Her resolve wavered when she thought of him, his tantalizing charm, his voice that felt both familiar and strange. As if the universe was tossing her a lifeline, her phone buzzed. Grief and anticipation twisted together in her stomach. It was an email. She took a breath, read the sender's name, and her heart soared. Jordan had written back. Can we meet tomorrow? I can't stop thinking about you. The words danced across her vision, and she could almost feel the electric tension in the air. Before replying, Lucy let her imagination run wild. She pictured them sitting at their favorite cafe, cups of coffee steaming in front of them. Would they reminisce? Discuss old dreams? Or worse, face the aching silence of things left unsaid? She knew she couldn't ignore the idea of the pantry any longer. Perhaps this meeting could help both their dreams surface. Maybe he had insights that could push her forward, clear hurdles that only he might recognize. With newfound determination, she typed a quick response, sounds perfect. I can't wait. The following morning arrived with a flurry of excitement and fear. Lucy donned her favorite blue dress. It was the color of quiet confidence. Yet, even dressed for success, her stomach churned with nerves. Mom! Can we go to the park today? Ella asked, tugging at her hand, her energy limitless as always. Let's make it a picnic. We can go right after lunch. Lucy's words came out more confidently than she felt. But the laughter of her children encouraged her. As they prepared sandwiches together, she felt a fleeting sense of calm wash over her. Looking at the two of them, she thought, I want to show them what it means to chase their dreams, to stand up and face the uncertainty. After lunch, the park was alive with laughter, children bouncing around like colorful balloons. Yet, while they played, Lucy couldn't shake the thought of her upcoming meeting. Would this connection guide her back to herself or take her down a path she wasn't ready for? As she pushed Ella on the swing, the sunlight filtered through the leaves, capturing her in warmth. Like the light that spilled through her kitchen window, clarity fluttered close. Maybe it wasn't just about facing the past. Maybe it was about shaping a future, one where she was more than a mother, someone who could realize the dreams tugging at her heart. With every swing of Ella's legs, every laugh that erupted, Lucy felt the weight on her chest lighten. Her determination renewed. But at the same time, the day of the meeting loomed near. Later that evening, as she settled down to read, her phone pinged again. Jordan had sent another message. Let us meet at 3 p.m. tomorrow. I've been looking forward to this. Tension coiled inside her. Tomorrow would be everything and nothing all at once. The point when past meets present, colliding into something uncharted, could she truly embrace the journey ahead, no matter how uncertain. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over her home, Lucy's heart raced with questions that would soon tumble into answers. What secrets awaited her just a breath away? The sun shone down brightly the next day, casting a golden hue over everything. Lucy's heart raced as she prepared for the meeting. She spent the morning organizing her thoughts, writing down little notes about her dreams for the pantry and what she wanted from Jordan. A part of her wished she could somehow mute the anxiety buzzing like a swarm of bees in her mind. "Mom! Look what I found!" Max interrupted her thoughts, holding a shiny rock up like a trophy. "Wow! That's a beauty, Max." Lucy smiled, pushing aside the nervous energy for a moment. The simplicity of a child's excitement brought her back to earth, reminding her of the little treasures life offered every day, no matter how big or small. Despite the hug of distraction her kids provided, she was still counting down the hours until the meeting. It was only mid-morning now, and thoughts of Jordan tugged at her. Why was she so nervous? Was it his boyish smile from their past? Or was it the weight of expectations she had placed on this meeting? As noon approached, she steered her focus back to the pantry. She'd always hoped to create a warm, inviting space filled with love, a place where memories would be made, and flavors would dance in the air. What if Jordan could bring those visions to life? The thrill and fear tangled in her chest made her hesitate. After a simple lunch, she allowed herself a moment alone in her room. Looking in the mirror, she whispered to her reflection, "You've got this." She adjusted her dress and touched her hair, wanting to look her best, inside and out. As she walked back into the living room, her kids were peacefully playing, and Lucy wanted to bottle that calm. "Breathe," she whispered to herself, feeling the weight of the approaching hour pull her into an unseen gravity. With each tick of the clock, she felt time stretching, like the moments before a storm. She could envision the cafe, the scent of coffee mingling with baked goods, and the gentle murmur of conversations floating around them. By the time the clock marked 2:30, she was pacing, unsure whether to leave early or stay until the last possible moment. When her phone chimed her cue to leave, her heart dropped. "I can do this," she muttered, opening the door and stepping out into the world waiting for her. The drive to the cafe felt surreal, each turn filled with both nostalgia and trepidation. As nerves settled at the pit of her stomach, she replayed memories of her and Jordan laughing over cups of coffee, feeling the bittersweet edges of their past love flooding her thoughts. Upon arriving, her eyes found him immediately. Jordan sat at a small table near the window, the afternoon sun outlining him in a soft glow. He looked just as she remembered, the corners of his mouth lifting when he caught her gaze. "Lucy!" He beamed, standing to greet her. Something inside her flickered a hope she didn't realize she still possessed. "Hey, Jordan," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. They sat, the atmosphere thick with possibility. As they exchanged pleasantries, Lucy felt the electricity crackle in the air, the distant shimmer of dreams mingling between them. "Thank you for coming," he said, leaning back slightly. His look was sincere, almost vulnerable, as if he too carried the weight of their shared history. Lucy took a deep breath, ready to dive in to share her dreams, to peel back layers of time and hope and maybe doubts. But just as she opened her mouth to speak, an unsettling thought crossed her mind. What if reviving the past broke her? What if it reignited things they both had buried deep? With those questions swirling in her, the moment felt fragile. She couldn't let fear dictate this encounter. "Jordan, I've been thinking about something," she started, the weight of her words heavy yet freeing, but before she could find her footing, something caught Jordan's eye and the tension in the cafe shifted. "What is that?" he asked, pointing outside. Lucy turned and her heart dropped. A group of kids, different from her own, were playing a game that looked dangerously close to chaos. Was this a sign? Or merely coincidence? Dread mixed with anticipation swirled in her once settled stomach. Did the past ever truly stay buried? And just like that, as she locked eyes with Jordan, everything around them faded. What was she about to uncover in this moment? And could she truly face what waited just beneath the surface? Lucy's heart raced again, but this time it wasn't from her nerves. A commotion outside dragged her focus away from the intimate setting of the cafe. The laughter of children mixed with shouts and the occasional crash of a playtime faux pas fell like pebbles into the silence between her and Jordan. "What if that's what our kids are like in a few years?" she asked, a nervous laugh escaping her lips as she gestured toward the ruckus outside. It was a weak attempt to ease her tension, but it felt genuine for a moment. Jordan chuckled softly, and she felt her heart flutter as the sound filled the space between them. "Chaos can be beautiful, just like life," he replied, his gaze lingering on her longer than necessary. It struck her how familiar it felt, yet so strange after all this time. She refocused, reminding herself of the reason she was here: her dreams, the pantry, bringing the two of them back into each other's lives. "Listen, Jordan." About the pantry, but his eyes wandered again, drawn once more to the children outside. One of the boys had managed to send a ball crashing into someone else's belongings, a moment of chaos that seemed to draw laughter from bystanders and concern from the owner. Jordan shook his head with a smile, and just for a second, Lucy wished she could reach out and grab that playful spirit of his. Sometimes it's the unexpected moments that shape us the most. He rested his elbows on the table, leaning forward slightly. "What are you really hoping for, Lucy? What do you want from all this?" His question hung heavily in the air. Could she show him what was buried within her? The vulnerability of hope and fear tangled together like old vines choking a new bloom. "Honestly, I just want to create a place that feels like home, something that nourishes those who need it most," she finally said, her voice trembling with intensity. Her heart thudded as she laid bare her desires. The pantry was more than just a dream of commerce for her. It symbolized possibility, community, and warmth. He nodded slowly, his expression softening. "That's beautiful, Luce. I can see why you need this." A sudden burst of laughter from outside jolted them back into the present. The chaos had turned to camaraderie, and for a brief moment, Lucy lost her thought, watching as the children congratulated one another on a game well played. A knot in her stomach loosened, replaced by a twinge of nostalgia for her own childhood, filled with endless play and laughter. Maybe we could rekindle more than just a business partnership. Jordan's words hung tantalizingly, hovering like the steam from their coffee mugs. There was a spark in his eyes that made her stomach turn upside down. Was he hinting at more? "Maybe," she replied, biting her lip. The thought excited her, but it terrified her even more. What about the past? The hurt? She questioned, a bit more forcefully than she intended. Her heart sank at the reminder of their history, the love entangled with pain. It shaped who we are, but it doesn't have to dictate where we go. A flicker of determination crossed his face. What if we let go of the past together and move forward into something new? Something better? The gravity of his words settled between them. Was it possible to stand on the foundation of their past and still reach for the future? In that moment, the world outside faded again, and all that was left was the two of them, perched on the edge of something profound. With every heartbeat, doubts and fears waged war against hope and excitement. "Jordan," she sighed, lost in his gaze. The chaos outside turned into an echo as her mind swirled with thoughts of possibilities. Could this be the beginning of something new? Or would the ghosts of their past take hold and pull them back? Just as she opened her mouth to respond, the cafe door swung wide, and a gust of wind rushed through, carrying the laughter of children and a sense of urgency with it. A woman hurried in, panic etched on her face, looking for someone as if the world outside had turned upside down. "Has anyone seen my son?" she blurted out, her voice trembling. Lucy and Jordan exchanged worried glances. What was happening outside? As the tension in the cafe thickened, Lucy knew that whatever was about to unfold could change everything. Would they still have a chance to explore the future they dared dream of? But as the cafe bustled around them, one question loomed larger than the rest: what secrets would the chaos outside reveal about their own lives? The air in the cafe crackled with tension, each breath becoming more weighted by uncertainty. Lucy's eyes darted towards the frantic woman, dread prickling at the back of her mind. The moment of connection with Jordan suddenly felt fragile, as though it could shatter with a single wrong word. The woman's eyes searched the room desperately, taking in every face before her. "He was just here," she continued, panic rising in her voice. "A little boy with a red cap. I was standing right by the swing, and then he just disappeared." Lucy's heart dropped, the innocent laughter of children outside now feeling like a cruel reminder of the chaos that life could summon. Everyone around seemed unsure, caught up in the moment as whispers danced through the small cafe. Jordan shifted in his seat, concern etching deeper lines on his face. "What do you mean disappeared?" he asked, his voice steady but low, lacing the unfolding chaos with an unmistakable urgency. "He was playing, he was happy. I turned for just a second." The woman's breath came in shallow gasps, and Lucy felt her heart mirror the frantic rhythm of her words. It was a moment of parental fear, one she understood all too well, even if she wasn't a mother yet. It brought back memories of her childhood, filled with carefree days spent running outside, only to realize too late how quickly life could spiral into panic. "He couldn't have gone far," someone at the edge of the cafe chimed in, a stranger's voice laced with reassurance, cutting through the rising tide of anxiety. "Let's look around outside." In that instant, instinct took over. Lucy stood, her voice filled with a newfound determination. "I'll help." She glanced at Jordan, a silent appeal glimmering in her eyes. This was more than just a moment to save a boy, it felt like a chance to step into something bigger together. Jordan was quick to follow her lead, springing up with a nod, his expression grave. They moved towards the door, her heart thumping in her chest, an unfamiliar energy propelling her forward. Outside, the laughter had taken on a different tone, mixed with a slight unease. Parents grasped their children a little tighter, frantically looking around. The playground looked almost ordinary, yet the undercurrent of worry painted it all gray. "Over there." Lucy pointed at a group gathered by the swings, a flash of red flickering in the chaos. Her pulse raced as they hurried closer, feeling the weight of the moment settle around them. As they pushed through the crowd, she spotted him, the little boy, sitting on a swing, his cap half off, blissfully unaware of the storm he stirred. Relief washed over her, so intense it was almost dizzying. The boy prattled for a moment, his eyes bright, running through a story of imaginary worlds and heroic adventures. "Is that your son?" the frantic mother gasped, rushing forward. Tears streamed down her cheeks, and Lucy felt her own eyes welling. "No," he murmured innocently, still lost in his play. The air shifted again. When the mother knelt beside him, wrapping her arms around her son, the weight of the previous moments fell away, replaced by the sweet release of happiness. Lucy felt Jordan's presence beside her, watching the reunion unfold. Their earlier conversation echoed in her mind. What they had dared to envision together now felt like a path emerging from the fog of their past fears. "What did you think of all this?" Jordan asked softly, nudging her gently with his shoulder. "Are you still keen to create something that brings people together?" Looking at the joyful scene, the chaos transformed into warmth. Lucy's heart stirred again. "More than ever," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. But beneath the relief, a new concern clawed at her heart. Could they really move forward? Was it possible to craft a space where connections blossomed, amidst all of life's uncertainty? As they turned to leave the playground behind, Jordan's hand brushed against hers. A spark ignited, feelings unvoiced yet palpable, but still uncertain. And at that moment, she understood life would always bring turmoil, yet there was beauty in the connections they forged. Would they have the courage to create their dream pantry, to make it a lifeline for others, while navigating the complexity of what lay ahead together? The future loomed before them, filled with choices yet unseen. Lucy hesitated, her heart racing. What step might they take next? Would they have each other's backs as they faced the storms on the horizon? The cafe, their dreams, and the weight of their shared past were all waiting for an answer. Lucy's heart fluttered as they stepped away from the playground, a bittersweet smile tugging at her lips. She glanced over at Jordan, who still held a mix of concern and determination in his eyes. The boy had been found, but the moment had stirred something deeper in both of them, a challenge that loomed over their budding relationship. "Can we talk?" Lucy suggested, her voice steadying as they walked side by side along the path. They found a bench, its weathered slats creaking under their weight. The bustle of the cafe felt far away, even as the echoes of laughter and the scent of fresh coffee wafted through the air. "About what?" Jordan asked, leaning forward slightly, his keen gaze never leaving her face. "About what happened back there, how we reacted." She took a breath, feeling the flutter of uncertainty in her stomach. "It made me realize how fragile everything is, how quickly life can change." "Yeah, I didn't expect us to spring into action like that," he replied, rubbing the back of his neck. "But it felt right, didn't it? Like we were meant to do something." Lucy nodded, the warmth of his words filling her with courage. "It made me think about our plans. The cafe, the pantry we wanted to build." Her voice softened. "What if we really could make a difference? But what would that even look like?" Jordan pondered this for a moment, glancing at the ground as if searching for answers among the pebbles. "I think we create a space where people don't just come to get food, but to connect. To find comfort, to be a community." His brow furrowed slightly. "But what if it doesn't turn out how we imagine? What if we fail?" The weight of his words pressed heavily between them, but Lucy couldn't shake off the rising hope she felt from their earlier moments. "But what if we succeed? What if we create something that provides solace, a place for families to come together?" Her heartbeat quickened, the vision sparking within her. Before Jordan could reply, a playful bark broke the air, and a golden retriever bounded past them, tail wagging with joy. It was a simple moment, but it hit her heart, a reminder that joy could be around every corner. "See? Even a dog can bring people together," she laughed, shaking her head at her own intensity. Jordan chuckled, the tension easing from his shoulders. "You're right. Maybe that's what it is, too. Community isn't just about solving problems. It's celebrating the little things." She couldn't help but smile back. "I like that. But we need to be ready for the hard stuff. Life isn't just sunshine and tail wags. What will we do when we hit a wall, or when life doesn't go as planned?" His eyes narrowed slightly, the sincerity in them touching something deep in her heart. "We'll find a way through it. Together. That's what all this means. We have to support each other through the good and the bad." That heartfelt connection, sharing fears and hopes, at once felt profound, like an anchor in the swirling sea of uncertainty. But even as their paths began to clear ahead, something nagged at Lucy's mind. What if they did plunge into this dream, only to discover it wasn't what either of them truly wanted? "Jordan," she said slowly, a weight behind her words. "Do we really know what we're getting into?" What if just then, a sudden commotion erupted at the edge of the playground, a loud shout drawing their attention, cutting through their moment. They exchanged a look, tension radiating anew between them, as they both rose from the bench instinctively. Whatever lay ahead, would they face it together, or would this be the moment that revealed their true selves? Lucy's heart raced, stomach knotted with anxious anticipation as she whispered, "What if this was just the beginning of something much bigger than us?" The sirens in the distance echoed, a reminder that life was never simple, nor predictable. Would they find the courage to face whatever storm was brewing next? The sun had begun its descent, bathing Maplewood in a soft, golden glow as Lucy and Jordan approached the source of the commotion. The crowd had gathered again, tension crackling through the air like static electricity. Children were still darting around, their laughter hauntingly cut short by the shouts of parents and guardians, seeking clarity amid the confusion. Lucy felt a mix of dread and determination surge within her. This moment forced both her and Jordan to confront their fears head-on, much like the feelings she had felt days prior as she prepared to dig her heels in for the pantry project. "What is happening?" Lucy called out as they weaved through the throng of people. He's not listening. A familiar voice chimed in. The playground bullies won't let him play. Panic filled the motherly tone, as the woman who had once frantically searched for her lost son was now searching for reassurance. Lucy glanced at Jordan, who met her gaze with a resolute expression. The actions of the community mirrored their own internal struggles to fight for hope, compassion, and connection amid chaos. We need to do something, she urged, courage bubbling up within her. As they reached the circle of concerned adults, formation turned to faces etched with worry. Lucy spotted a little boy standing alone, his shoulders hunched and a bright red cap sitting crooked on his head. He was penned in by older kids, their laughter sharp like daggers. Hey! Lucy called, stepping forward, her voice strong and steady. What's happening here? The older kids exchanged glances, but Lucy's authority caught them off guard. Let him go. He just wants to play like everyone else. The gravity of her words seemed to settle over the small crowd, a collective sense of responsibility dawning upon them. Jordan stood by her side, his presence unwavering. We're all part of this community, he added, stepping closer. Everyone deserves a chance to join in. Just like not everyone has the same strength doesn't mean some of us don't deserve a place. Slowly, the older kids relaxed their stances, confusion giving way to quiet realization. They looked around, their carefree laughter faltering, as they considered the truth behind Lucy and Jordan's words. The little boy's eyes widened, and for a second, Lucy caught a glimpse of his inner turmoil, the fear of rejection, the longing to be accepted. She stepped closer, kneeling to his level. You're brave for standing here. Would you like to play with us? With an almost imperceptible nod, he lifted his chin slightly, hope flickering in his eyes, the same flicker she had felt when she started working toward her dreams. And just as that spark ignited the boy's heart, it filled hers anew. The crowd shifted, opening up a path to invite him forward. Yes. Let us all play together, just like we want our lives to be a mix of chaos, laughter, and togetherness. Lucy exclaimed, her voice ringing with conviction. And then something beautiful happened. Hands reached out, giggles erupted, and that small boy found himself whisked into the games. Lucy felt a wave of joy wash over her. This moment reminded her of every dream deferred, of every moment she was afraid to step up. All her fears transformed into determination, affirmative action pushing through the fog of uncertainty. She turned to Jordan, exhilarated. This is what we can build, a place where every voice is heard. He smiled back, gratitude shining in his eyes. You're right. This is just the beginning. The laughter around them swelled, a genuine connection uniting the faces of children and adults alike. Lucy felt her heart swell in time with the camaraderie blossoming at the playground. It was like a beautifully orchestrated orchestra, playing harmonies of hope, trust, and love, flowing through the cracks of their fears. As the day turned to dusk, Lucy knew they couldn't just stop here. The pantry could feed not just stomachs but hearts and souls as well, creating a sanctuary for families struggling through life's trials. Returning to their bench, the whole world felt lighter. I think this is what we need to do, Lucy said as they sat down side by side again, slight echoes of children's laughter still dancing in their hearts. Jordan nodded. Let us take this forward. We can use the momentum to not only support families in need but also bring everyone in Maplewood together. We could host events, like this one, to unite the community. With renewed strength and vision encircling them, the essence of the journey had changed. They weren't just reviving the past, they were forging ahead into a vibrant future rooted in community, trust, and possibilities. It was a lot to take in, yet a warm smile danced on Lucy's lips as the weight of fear faded. We can do this, she said firmly. Together. And with that realization, arm in arm, they walked toward their calling, a life unbound by the lingering pain of the past but filled with a new commitment to love, hope, and shared purpose. This was it. They were breaking free from the shadows of doubt and stepping boldly into an inspiring journey, a journey that would define not just their own paths but also the heart of Maplewood. As they left the playground behind, Lucy felt the sun dip below the horizon, knowing it was just the beginning of a new dawn. Now is the time for you to make a change. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories of transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let everyone else know how this story touched your heart. Comment below with your thoughts, feelings, and reactions to this ending. We want to hear from you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this spectacular transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support matters more than you can imagine.